Again, the not all of these had names, so this kind of looks like a support for the rod. That's going to be here. I guess we could have continued that with the pins. Maybe we'll add it on to the end of this one. Anyway, the support has this symmetry, so depending on where we attach it to the origin, we can have take some advantage of drawing one half of the part and then mirroring it over. So let's jump into our part millimeter. Open up a sketch on the front plane. I'm going to create a rectangle, and since I don't automatically get the midpoint, I just kind of draw the rectangle out in a way. I can select the origin, Control on the keyboard, and select the line. That's going to let me do midpoint, or over on the Property Manager, midpoint. Oh, we said we were going to mirror this, but I already jumped into one of those. Well, we'll use the symmetry. Alright, so the height. So it looks like we're missing a dimension. 21 and 10 would be 31, and then the height looks like about another 10. So I'm going to go 41, but since that one's a questionable, right, missing dimension, I can treat that as an inspection dimension or place the ob round on it. Be able to come back and check. Smart dimension is 60. And the one that I was thinking of that we don't use very often but occasionally does come up in our edit tools, we can, let's find the sketch tools. Sketch tools, and there is a tool in here called, make sure I'm creating the right one, to add a jog to that segment. So we pick the start point and then drag over to the end point, and that effectively does a trim. Won't say it's my my favorite tool, but every once in a while it is handy. So it's be aware it exists. So in this case, I haven't generated a center line. So in that case, to create symmetry, I'm going to select, hold down the Control button, select the other line, and we're going to make those equal. Alright, so once it has a dimension, and we'll look for the smart dimensions here, and 14 millimeters, and then the height was 21. Alright, so the radiuses, the chamfers, I'm not real worried about those right now. Decision, do I want to include the circle? Doesn't really help, it doesn't really hurt. If I wanted to build more geometry around it, maybe the whole wizard could get us a little bit more of advantage. Alright, so I select the center point, hold down the Control button, select the origin. That gets a vertical. I'm going to go right over into the smart dimension, and that gives us our 8 millimeter. And then from the top is 10 millimeters. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We have a thickness of 10 millimeters, so features, extrude. Don't see any advantage to doing mid-plane or something else, so blind in condition, 10 millimeters. Alright, so by habit and probably preferred process, chamfers and radiuses go in last. There's times where a radius might need to be in first, but for the most part, we don't want dimensions to into a radius or chamfer, and when it's probably one of the most likely things to change. So selecting the bottom and doing Control 8 takes me into that view. S key on the keyboard and the whole wizard for our 5 millimeter dowel pins. And so we have the dowel. It retained the 5 millimeter from our previous session. The depth is called out to 10 millimeters. And the position then will locate and locate. So try to remember the next hole wizard I do to not pre-select so we can take a look at the 3D sketch. Alright, so I drew the center line so that I can gauge symmetry, and if I didn't already draw on the second point, I could mirror. Alright, so that puts the locations, and we're 5 millimeters in, and from the edge also 5 millimeters. Okay, so the symmetry allows us to dimension both of those hole locations with one set of dimensions. Alright, so chamfers. If I select and control select, I can go right into the chamfer. That's going to have a 4 millimeter on the corner. And there's not a lot of these to use the selection filter, so we'll just go ahead and pre-select both, and a dimension of 10 millimeters. Alright, so parts aren't seriously complicated, but there is a decision path that we need to go to of pretty much the geometry you see. If you saw it a different way and did it a different way, that's fine. I always reference back to the test is the validity of the geometry. There is no right and wrong way to create our the features in the sketches. So the support, we'll just call it the support. That one's good.